Did you know that you can significantly increase your credit score just by changing the date that you pay off your credit card bills? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The key to having a good credit score could just simply be as simple as changing the date that you pay your bills. Now, if you're someone that's been struggling and grinding away at your credit score, trying to improve your credit, and you're just now finding out that something this trivial and this simple as just changing the date that you pay your bills could have a significant and meaningful impact on your credit score, if you're just now figuring that out, you might be a little bit pissed off. Like, why didn't I already know this? And you should be pissed off because, ladies and gentlemen, the education system has failed you. School teaches you things like the Pythagorean theorem, but it does not teach you anything about money, investing, budgeting, saving, retirement, and all of those other things that are realistically the most important things when it comes to our work lives. So if those things do matter to you, be sure to subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm, and be on the lookout for more helpful tips and tricks to help you achieve your financial goals. So how does something as simple as just changing the date that you pay your credit bills help your credit score? Well, in order to explain that, we need to look at how the credit score is calculated. There is 5 different key components that make up your overall credit score. And one of those components is your credit utilization rate. This is the second largest category that makes up your credit score. This makes up a massive 30% of your overall credit score. And the largest category, which is do you pay your bills on time, is 35%. So this is almost as important as paying your bills on time. This credit utilization rate is massively important. So here's how this works. So your credit utilization rate is a ratio of how much credit you have available to you versus how much of that credit you are actively using. So for example, if you only have one single credit card and that credit card has a $1,000 credit limit, if you max that sucker out and you are using all $1,000 of that available credit, then you are using 100% of your available credit, and that's bad. The lower the number, that lower that utilization rate, the better. So for example, if you had only spent $500 out of the available $1,000, that would be a 50% utilization rate, which is better, but still not great. Most places are going to tell you that you want to keep your utilization rate at 30% or lower, but that's a generalized statement. The lower you can get it, the better. I'm here to tell you that realistically, if you want a good credit score, you want to get that utilization rate down to 10% or less. Meaning, if you had a $1,000 credit limit available, you would only want to spend about $100 on that credit card or less. Now, there's a couple of ways to lower your utilization rate. The first one is obviously just don't use your credit card very often. Maybe all you do is put like a single tank of gas or a single stop at Walmart or something like that on your credit card each month and then completely pay it off in full. And then just use things like cash or debit for all of your other purchases. But sometimes that's not very beneficial. We like to get points and rewards, and it's just convenient to use a credit card. So if you do use your credit card for your everyday purchases, how can we get that credit utilization rate as low as humanly possible so that we get the best credit score available? So the key to all of this is to understand that your credit card is only going to report to the 3 different credit bureaus, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. They only report 1 time per month to the 3 credit bureaus. It only matters what your credit utilization rate is on the one day that that credit card reports to the 3 different credit bureaus. So as long as we can get our credit utilization rate very low for that one particular day, then we're going to be good. Now, unfortunately, there is no universal answer as far as when credit card companies are required to report to the 3 different credit bureaus. It's up to the individual company. But most credit cards are going to report to the credit bureaus on the statement closing date. So let's take a look at the different dates as far as your credit cards are concerned so that we can understand fully what this means. So here I've logged into my Chase account, and you can see based on my credit card statements that all of my credit card statements for this one particular card are closing out on the 11th of each month. That is the statement closing date. So if we just open up this top statement, this one that is closing on November 11th, you'll see here that this means that all of the purchases that I've made between October 12th and November 11th, that is what is due for this particular credit cycle. Now, even though I made these purchases in late October or early November, I don't actually have to technically pay the balance until December. That is the due date for my bills. And that's typically when people actually pay off their credit, is on the due date. As long as you pay your statement in full by the due date, you are never going to be charged any interest or anything like that. So most people pay on the due date. But I'm telling you, if you want the best credit score possible, try to pay it on or before the statement closing date, that November 11th. So realistically, you might want to pay your bills on the 10th or the 9th or something like that, just to make sure the payment has posted in time for the statement closing date. So then if I go over to my Experian website and I pull my credit score, I can see all of my different credit cards that I currently have, and here you can see the card from JP Morgan Chase with that November 11th. That is the date that it was updated to Experian. So that was the date that my balance was reported for credit utilization purchases to Experian. Now, as you can see, all of my different credit cards have slightly different reporting dates. That's because they all have different due dates and statement closing dates. So this method is really easy if you only have one or maybe two credit cards that you use. The more credit cards that you have available, the more complicated things get. But realistically, if you have a bunch of different credit cards, your credit pool, your available credit to you is probably large enough that it's not going to matter. You're just simply going to have enough credit available that your utilization rate by default is going to be relatively low. Now, obviously, it is ideal to pay off your credit card bill in full by the statement due date, because anytime after that, that's when you are actually getting charged interest on all of that purchases. But when you are making this payment early before the statement closing date, I actually recommend that you not pay it off in full. Pay the overwhelming majority of it, but leave just a little bit on that card up until the actual statement due date, and then pay off the rest of it and completely wipe out all of that debt so you don't get charged any interest. Now, here's why you want to add just a little bit of credit debt when you make that early payment on the statement closing date. You see, if you pay off your entire balance on the day that it gets reported to the credit bureaus, then realistically, it looks like you didn't even use that credit card at all during the month when it comes to the 3 different credit bureaus. They just think that you're not using your credit cards at all. And so that's not really going to help your credit score, because they're thinking, okay, well, he went out and got this available credit, but he's not even using it. So if you're not using it, it's not responsible use. You're just inactive. That's why you want to have at least a little bit of money still on your account as of the statement closing date. That way, when it reports to the 3 different credit bureaus, it's technically reporting a balance, albeit a small one. Because that proves to the credit card companies that this card is active. You are actively using this, as opposed to some completely inactive account that, maybe even just lost that credit card and you never actually use it. So a quick recap: check out your credit card, pull up a statement, and see when the statement closing date is. It's going to be the same day every single month. And then you're going to want to pay your bill a few days prior to that. You're going to want to make a large but not a full payment towards that debt. And then once your statement due date rolls around, you are going to theoretically want to pay it off in full. That way you don't get charged any interest. If you found this video useful, be sure to subscribe, but leave a comment down below. Give the video a thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm. I have a ton of different tips and tricks about all kinds of personal finance topics. And until next time, I'll see you all again. Thanks.